All right, well, we are doing this trip across the country with Emily's car. Yes, we are driving together. Rod and myself are going to be crossing the country with Emily's car. Got a couple stops planned: Colorado, Tremont, Illinois, Akron, Ohio. Brought to you by Crate and Barrel. Crate and Barrel. Hello to our first viewer. Say hi in the chat. Say hi. Hi to the Pops. Smash a like, hit subscribe. We'll be going coast to coast. Josh and Rod live. How's it in Canada? Probably gonna burn through all my data like this. But it's worth it.
Well, we can space them out. I would be happier
if I don't stuff it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna just share the chat here with some other folks.
How much miles is this thing on? It's pretty new.
The car has only, that's loud, 12,000 miles on the car. Oh, we lost our viewer. All right, so this is the car. Sorry, say hi to the live stream. We've got one viewer.
One viewer, all right.
Benji, I don't know who it is.
Sweet, I like it.
So, all right. See you later. Safe trip.
Yeah, you guys too. Bye.
Starting the journey. All right. I sent the link, so.
Probably won't be able to, obviously, while I'm traveling. But
Yeah.
Did you send it to Renee?
Share it widely. Share widely.
There's no gas in here.
Hmm?
It's like
Yeah,
a
there
quarter
is.
tank. Oh, wow, that's a warm sun. Not used to that.
Yep.
In effect in Syracuse.
All right, well, long journey ahead of us. We are gonna first head to Colorado Springs.
Yep. So what do you think? 8 hours today?
8 hours today, 8 tomorrow.
Okay. Let's see, we're going east, so we're losing an hour.
Yep.
Once we hit each time zone.
All right, well, maybe we should start off with a prayer and just pray for safety.
Okay, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for the opportunity that we've had to be here in this weekend to witness Emily and Andrew's wedding, and for the opportunity that we had to fellowship today with believers. And we pray that you'd uplift and encourage us, that you'd watch over us and protect us and keep us safe as we drive and travel, that you'd bless our conversation, and that you would uplift and encourage us in you, and that you would help us to be able to stay awake and be focused and to make wise choices along the journey, and bless those that we're able to meet with and to fellowship on the way there. Always pray that you'd be with Evelyn and Renee also, that you would watch over them and grant them a safe trip home, and Melissa also, and Brian, and each one who would be traveling home from the wedding, that you would keep them safe and in your care. All these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, so maybe pop some directions in.
All right, that's right. I have the official. Wait, what happened to my phone now? Don't have it in my pocket. Great. This is my suit coat or my.
Is it?
Well, my. It's in the bag at one point.
All right.
Okay, so much for that trip.
All right,
Can't leave
restart.
without a cell phone. Can't leave without it.
So who's on the chat right now? We got one viewer. What's so weird? Renee says this is so weird. Are you the one viewer? Well, we don't have a loyal following yet, so no harm. It's also Sunday in the middle of church time, so
Oh, great. Just remember, I don't have an inverter here. That means
I do have one in my
do.
suitcase, yeah.
Let's see.
Thought ahead.
That means my laptop will die after 2 hours if I'm lucky.
Leaving now, says Renee. Well, that's great. They apparently, the oxygen tanks on their vehicle stopped, needed to get replaced, so they were potentially going to be delayed for some time. That's a good turnaround.
sure I realize that my every word and movement is being recorded. Does that mean I can't change my pants while we're driving?
She sounds bothered by it.
Yeah, well, a certain generation is bothered by that.
Yeah.
The social openness of social media.
I know. The rest of us are massive narcissists and just like to see ourselves on camera. Some of us.
Yes, yes.
Maybe I'll stop and get one of those it's windshield suction cup
suction
things.
cup things. Yeah, those always work so well. Maybe they do now. Maybe they work better nowadays.
Make sure my notifications are on in case we get graced with somebody joining us.
Hey, we should have got somebody to pay for advertise for.
I know,
for
Crate and Barrel.
We should have got our brand and get their brand out there.
We
To
gotta
our
do
one subscriber.
We gotta do some work first, I guess. Gotta make it worth their time. The message went today.
I don't know. I felt it went pretty good. A little more comfortable, and feel as it wasn't as wild as the message last week. So hopefully I didn't embarrass my family or my church. Miss a church here.
I might stop at this Dollar Tree and just grab something to hold this.
Okay.
Otherwise it's gonna keep
I might
flopping.
have to go on a cherry Coke run.
That's right.
Number one need for driving across country is lots of cherry Cokes.
That's right. I don't have a cooler though, so it might be.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It might get kind of warm here through the desert. How'd you think the sermon went?
Very good. I appreciated the sentiments that were shared.
Okay.
He seemed comfortable. He seemed to get more comfortable as time went by, so that's good.
Yeah.
It's probably not easy to give a message in a church you're not as familiar with, right?
Yeah.
So, it's also, I don't know, it's always tough to, from my perspective, when I know how somebody's, whether it's their style of speech or their,
Right.
Their mannerisms, I kind of am used to, and you always wonder, like, how are other people interpret. It's kind of like, when somebody comes to church and you're right away viewing the sermon through their lens,
Right.
But what are you gonna do?
Dollar Tree. I don't think Dollar Tree carries cherry Cokes.
Probably.
At least they don't at home. But let's see. Oh, did I end up sticking my silly mask in the? Here's one.
All right, we'll be back after
My
these
good
messages.
Left my good N95 in my suit coat.
Any luck?
Well, that gas station over there doesn't have a. It's just one of those little booths in the middle, so I don't doubt they have it. But maybe the CVS across the street if you think we got time.
Oh, we got something.
I'm getting pretty warm and thirsty myself.
So that kind of worked to rig that up for a little bit, and then also we can get some road views.
Ah, look at that.
But it's a little, I guess we could put it lower down and get a better angle.
I can. I'm seeing this so much longer. I'm gonna have to get down to my t-shirt here. So the CVS is straight through here on the other side of the road.
Oh,
See
okay.
it? A lot of times they have a pretty decent selection of stuff. Oh, it's funny, like almost all gas stations at home have like the huge little mini store with them now.
Yeah.
And this one just has the one operator booth here.
Which? Oh, the one on this side, yeah.
76. I don't know, they might have some stuff in there, but I doubt they've got much of a selection. Next must be there to sell gas. Sell gas and automotive things. No, can't get there from here, huh? Unless you can. There's the guys coming in here. Okay. You go knock on this guy's window and ask you if you can pull up. Or does he think he's in Mexico and he's got to keep a 30-foot distance, a radius around him in case the gangs come out to.
Is that how they do it?
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Well, this guy,
They
this kind
hem
soul,
you,
is letting
they
us through.
hem you in a car and hem you in, and then they abduct you.
Yikes.
That's what I've read. But you're more experienced in Mexico than me, so
Well, my time was very fruitful and safe, to be honest.
yeah.
So I enjoyed it quite thoroughly. All right, let's try
Try
CVS.
CVS. I might even have a discount membership here.
There you go.
Big frequent flyer traveler. get the other ones?
Yep.
Do you want this?
Sure. All right, well, I got that to work for $1, so
Okay.
good enough. Better than spending $25. All right.
Okay,
here
we're all
goes.
hooked up now. $4 off $20 worth of antacid, probiotic, heartburn, or stomach remedy. So if we get sick along the way, we're gonna get a discount.
There we go.
And we all know that's what life on the road is about, finding those discounts.
That's right. Dr. Pepper brought to you by. What Dad got?
Coke, Cherry Coke Zero, the specialty, the
All
road
right,
trip
where's-
specialty.
That's right. America runs on Coke Zero. All right, where's
Also,
the
a lot of meals to prepare. Times like these.
phone? Probably right.
You gotta go to the, oh, mine's probably, I gotta connect it to the
Reconnect.
cord again. I'm lost if I do this. My goodness. What a struggle. Now, where did my cord go? Here it is. Device connected. Okay. About. There we go, Apple CarPlay.
Well, this is a great car, I must say. Very smooth ride. Papa Dave did a good job getting it ready for the road.
I know. I better be looking for another one for Andrew.
Yeah. The other Forester ready for the grave.
According to Andrew's trying to spend money on it.
Don't blame him.
He just doesn't realize that that's one of the adulting facts of life, is that when you get a used car, there are times when you have to spend lots of money of it to get it to live to the next generation.
So you've had your share of cars you've limped along. What's the breaking point at which you say enough is enough?
Well, I don't know. Evelyn has a much lower breaking point than I have, but I tend to, unfortunately, I become emotionally involved with my cars, and it's hard for me to let them die.
Yeah.
So, at some point, though, the rust, when the rust gets bad enough, I start to, and when the foot goes through the floorboard, then that's definitely the sign.
You
But
can see the road
you
underneath.
can see the road underneath. That's definitely a sign. Also, it depends too on the. I don't know. I've replaced an engine before. Thanks to children that didn't realize the importance of keeping the oil uppings, you know. But we have replaced an engine for, well, it's $2,500, but then they gave me the frequent flyer discount off of that. So I think I got it for 21 or 22 or something like that. But that was probably not the best. That was probably not the best investment, because again, the amount of rust and stuff like that eventually did it in within a year or two after that. But it did keep it running for another year. And of course, you know, if you buy a newer one, then all of a sudden you're looking at 20, 30, 20, 15 to 30,000 if you buy anything halfway new. That was the old days, and of course now with the chip shortage, you're looking at even more. And so, but I mean, we had a point where about 18-month period here we were averaging over 1,500 on 3 cars. Between the 3 cars, we had 2 that we kept on the road, and one, basically, it seems like we had one in the shop the whole time, all the time. Just trying. Oh.
Kind of rigged it up.
Okay, now I have to slide it here. off here?
Seems like it.
Seems like it. Okay.
Renee said boarding, so
Okay.
she was worried she would not make it home for tomorrow's clinic.
Yeah.
Jeez.
What do you have to do to get this up here? Anything special?
Let's see. So first, push.
Probably push too hard when I push the thing in.
I guess she's pretty sick. She has pretty bad cold, so she's worried.
She's got COVID.
Yeah, quite possible. Curious to see in the next few weeks. I mean, there's a lot of mythology floating around that this new variant's going to be much milder, and that maybe this is the beginning of the end. So hey, I'm all on board.
Yeah, much milder, but it's very infectious, and it seems like they're blaming this big Cornell outbreak here on the new variant, and I don't know.
Interestingly, though, I think even I was reading, from the top, from the White House, etc. They are acknowledging that at this point it needs to shift away from cases to talking about morbidity and death, because we're assuming the cases are going to keep. This was always the thought: if you get the vaccines out, if you get treatments out, that you out of every 100 people, you're going to have less people dying. So that's the best case we can get to. I think.
Right. So I mean, assuming you're vaccinated, especially for people that are high risk, the morbidity would hopefully go down. Even though there might be more cases, the morbidity would decrease. So I was getting an extra rash of emails here at the end of the semester from students that had COVID or impacted or had somebody in their circle be tested positive, and I don't know. At first, I was just thinking, it's just another excuse. But then when Cornell shut down their final exams, I thought, wow, maybe we're just down the street here. Maybe that's what's happening here too. Maybe these really are all COVID cases, or at least some of them.
We got a viewer here. So you're joining the Josh and Rod Coast to Coast journey. Feel free to say hi, drop a comment, topic of discussion, call in directly if you like. Basically just leaving LA area, left La Puente, and going back to Syracuse as fast as we can. So we've just been discussing a host of topics already, and I don't know, pretty open to discussing anything, I think, huh?
Where does it go?
The forward camera is really bumpy for some reason. I don't know why, because it's on the same phone and it's on the same holder. I almost wonder if it's something with the windshield, or anyway. So you'll be stuck looking this way for as long as you are tuned in. We've been up 2 viewers, so we're growing in size. What are your views on the UFO phenomenon? Says Christopher. Which Christopher is this?
Well,
I must say I'm not extremely well versed in UFOs. I am not completely against the possibility of there being extraterrestrial life, but like I said, very, very uninformed on the topic. What are your thoughts? You would have heard about that stuff growing up in the 60s, 70s.
Yes, we had all those great movies back in the 60s and 70s. I can't remember what they were called. But yeah, it was I don't know, like I believe was it the Defense Department or some part of the U.S. government? They just released some these different unexplained phenomena that they hadn't recent within the last year that couldn't be explained, and that they thought potentially were UFOs. And,
Certainly, whatever's out there must be pretty intelligent because it's decided not to stick around.
Yeah, we were probably too low a life form.
Yeah, just let us die off and let us kill each other and toast the planet. But thanks for the question. Christopher, where are you calling in from? I can't tell. I don't know which Christopher this is, but I have to say, this vehicle is a great vehicle. It is extremely smooth. This is K-Town Broseph. All right, Chris, thanks for replying. We are happy to have you on board. Stay for a moment. Feel free to leave whenever, but we are enjoyed to have your company. Of course, you know my father-in-law love this stream. Well, Chris, we love having you on board. It's going to be a long journey. We figured, hey, let's make this as fun as possible. We pitched the idea to a few people, and we got nothing but love. So, you know, and funny enough, actually, at work, when I told some of the people that eyebrows, and then I said, doing it with my father-in-law.
They really raised their eyebrows.
They really raised it. I was like, hey, we get along great. We could talk for hours, I think. I think we're both very open-minded to the point that maybe, as they say, your brains can fall out if you're too open-minded. So, yeah, so that's how that goes. But anyway, I think even Emily was surprised. The family seems very surprised that we're willing to do this. But I mean, growing up, all I heard was stories about how my father-in-law would drive across creation for the kids' sporting events, and it was just, I mean, it kind of runs in the family, right? With the other aunts and uncles.
Yeah, it's pretty, I don't know. You always, well, my parents took us on this road trip to the great American West here back in I gotta make sure I get this date right, 1970, I believe. We went out west and we hit we hit Zion, Bryce, the Grand Canyon, most of the western sequoias, most of the western parks. We went to Disneyland, national parks. We went to Disneyland, we went to SeaWorld in San Diego, and the sister-in-laws joke that, you know, that whenever they say, have you ever been to this place, that our answer as siblings is, yeah, oh yeah, I saw that in 1970 in our great
Family
3-week
trips.
vacation. Yes.
Here's a little taste of LA traffic. Again, I don't know where that vibration's coming from. It's pretty strong, but you just get a little sample, little spritz of the LA traffic, which is why we don't live here. But no, I mean, I think I remember, you know, when I first met Alex and Lydia, I mean, they would drive from Phoenix up to camp, and then they would spend time Tremont, and they had the safari van, I think, right? And that's you know, pack all the kids. Those kids grew up, you know, doing coast to coast, you know. So we're kind of living the dream.
Yeah, right. We didn't. When we had our kids were young, we just dropped them into that culture. I don't know. We flew with. I don't know, Melissa or Brian, and they were a couple months old. We flew to St. Louis for a family meet up for a family reunion, and I don't know. I know. I just don't know if it was if it's the DNA or if it's the the training, or if it's the some of both, or if it's just lucky that
Yeah.
we were at ease with that. But
It's privilege. right?
privilege. Although I was
Chris Netchikov, yeah.
oh, Netchikov.
Chris Netchikov.
Okay.
Oh, that was fun.
So the ladies ought to be connecting to us from the air here once they get to 10,000 feet.
I think Renee's embarrassed, so honestly I do.
Oh, okay. I think Evelyn's probably embarrassed too. Chris say, is he back?
Said pretty good setup, connection cuts out. It's also kind of annoying that when it disconnects, it doesn't try to reconnect.
Yeah. Wow, sun winter not cool down in a hurry.
What's that?
So when the sun, we got out of the sunshine and you hear the temperature.
Yeah.
Or that just you've had the air conditioner on, or the
Oh, it's pretty low.
yeah, it's to the. Oh wait, this is a different car than we've been having here. And you're you don't have separate controls probably.
It's where they don't give you a lot of options for settings or anything.
So does this feed all get stored to be able to play back?
I don't know.
Pasadena, Montana, X3Xs.
Oh yeah, that's about there.
Yeah, I think a couple times. Once, twice. Just once. I know I stayed at Ben's place once with him. Twice. Just once. I think I was at a conference or something. I met him for dinner once another time, I think. Say that Trey Coke really hit the spot. What's your Dr. Pepper?
Good. It's a pretty good job of tasting like Dr. Pepper, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's even pretty cold. A lot of times those coolers are not very functional as far as I'm concerned. Well, these at least have the door closed on. It's nothing like airport soda, warm soda with cold pizza.
Yeah.
That's my favorite airport meal.
You ever notice how when you're in a plane and you get a soda with ice, how it like froths up? Hey, it's Wes. How come I don't see a person on the counter? Anyway, Wes, what's up? We are going from LA to Syracuse with Emily, formerly Bojanak. She's now a cook as of yesterday with her car. Basically, I worked like 2.5 weeks. So somebody needed to do it. Why not make an adventure out of it? So we are first going to call it. We still plan.
Uncle Dirk was working on fixing up the second one.
And then we're going out to Syracuse, well, Ohio, see my grandparents quickly, and then Syracuse. So, Wes, we miss you, or I miss you. I don't know about, can't speak for both of us, but hope you and Reika are doing well. I know you guys missed out on going to Japan, I think, last I heard, which sucks big time. So I hope you guys were able to have some alternate plans and enjoy the season with family and friends. Sounds great. Miss you too. All right. Yeah. Well, we need to reunite at some point. I know we kind of had big hopes for hanging out and getting to know you guys as a couple better, and then kind of all this madness hit, and then we left, and we've not really been back too much. Barely just to see family. So, yep. Sad part. I mean, on one hand, it's like, you don't ever lose those friendships, I think, and those close friends you have. It still sucks that time goes by and you kind of have these, you miss out on like these shared experiences, that you kind of took for granted before. Hopefully sooner than later. Absolutely.
Just a couple weeks ago, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal about these different people that they had finally, after COVID started letting up a little bit, they were able to reconnect with people, some of them they hadn't seen for 20, 30 years, and they had been friends, and like this one guy actually, he had met this guy on a cross-country train trip, and then they were both working in the same city, and they were both married at that point, and they had this great connection with this other couple, and then one of them got transferred or moved to another city, and they hadn't really been much in touch for 20 years, and I don't know, especially after COVID, he started thinking about this relationship that they had, and so he got back in touch with them, and they did a road trip to reconnect, and as soon as they walked in the door, they just felt like they could pick right back up. He and his wife, they just felt like they were able to pick right back up where they had left off 20 years before.
There's something, it's an interesting phenomenon where like, there's some people, and I think, Wesley's one of them for sure, and I think of other couple of close friends who you can not see them for, years, potentially. Matt Netch is like another classic one where I know sometimes I haven't seen him in like 3-4 years at a time, and then you pick up like right away. But then there's other people that you're around all the time, and it always feels like you're starting over. Like I don't, and it's not necessarily about you have common interests or common, it's nothing even about that. There's some chemistry that's hard to like put your finger on it, Yeah, I'm sure you have people like that too, right?
Yep, certain people, you don't see for years. It's funny, you get back together with them, and it's like, I don't know, like you can almost, I don't know, hate to say complete their sentences or whatever, but there's this shared bond that even though you haven't seen them for years, that you can quickly pick back up, and
right.
you can up where you left off or something like that.
I wonder if it has to do with like a level of vulnerability you've been able to have in the past. Like all my close friends I can think about, you know, even if we don't see each other often, we've been extremely open with each other, and oh, this guy's ripping. You know, we all know the challenges people have gone through, and we've been really open with. There's been like the mask has been like taken down, versus other people, you know, that you just haven't got to that level with, and maybe they're not interested in that, or you haven't been, you know, that way with them either. But I wonder if there's a level of that, you know. So anyway, some rock just hit us.
Soda bottles, man.
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, as the elevation's going up, probably the soda bottle is actually probably popping, but we're climbing some mountains here. Hopefully the stream continues to last, because while we're in the city, it was dropping signal, which sucks. I don't know why. And it doesn't try to reconnect, so you gotta kind of manually reconnect. But yeah, so crossing some kind of ridge here. Wes will be sticking around. This is great. We're trying to figure out a call-in feature too, so you can kind of do like you know, like radio call, and that would be interesting. Keep us entertained. We're here for at least 40 hours of driving. You know, I don't know. Everyone I told was like, "Why aren't you just paying somebody to do this?" And I mean, I don't know. Why not? Why not just do it?
It's just the challenge. It's the new lifestyle challenge of being online.
Yeah.
I gotta submit my grades yet this semester here. You know, and I got my students that are still panicking because they missed their final last week. I can even host a WebEx here, a Zoom call here, so they can take their finals, you know, from the road. And yet here we are. If it was during the regular semester, we offer a class face to face. I'm not allowed to hold any of those sessions online. Of course, after the previous year where we held them all online, but you know, just shows you how the systemic butts in the seat mentality of the corporate and academic structure.
Speaking of which, my father-in-law recently transitioned from the corporate world to the academic world. That was kind of a lifelong conviction, right?
Yeah, since second grade.
Second grade, wow. So what experience did you have in second grade that brought you there?
I don't know. I love my teacher, Mrs. Boyle, and I don't know. I used to write stories when I was a kid, and I had written this story, and she let me read it to the class. You know, so I suppose I was the teacher's pet or whatever. But I was really back in second grade. I was really enjoying my educational experience, and so one day I was asking somebody. I still remember I was asking somebody, "So how many years can you go to school?" And they said something about, well, you know, after 12 years in high school, or 12 years through K through 12 here from the U.S. for us, and then you can go to college for 4 years, and then you can go to four more years, and you can get your doctorate. You know, I was thinking, hey, that's what I want to do. I'm going to go to school as long as possible. I'm going to get my doctorate.
Here you
are. None of this real world stuff for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you did a bachelor's in computers?
I did an associate's degree in computers, and then I got a bachelor's degree in accounting, because all of my professors for my associate's degree, almost all of them were old accountants, because those were the people that learned computers first back in the old days. And I got a job at Caterpillar Tractor Company, and they offered me a choice to come in their accounting training program or their data processing program, and I chose data processing because I thought computers were the way of the future. Little did I know back then what the wave was coming yet, but.
So what did computers look like at that point, though? I mean, we're talking early 80s or mid 80s? This is early 80s,
Yeah, so
right?
we're talking early 80s, so we had...
A MacBook, or? No, that was before that.
That's before that. All their basic were mainframe, these huge mainframes that they...
the punch cards, or
the punch cards that took up the size of the room. Well, we did have the green screen terminals, right? So in school we mostly used punch cards, but then because it was expensive, the terminals were expensive, so they let us students learn on punch cards. And then once we got to the corporate world, we had these green screen terminals where they let us actually type in our code on those, but there usually wasn't one per person. Usually you had to share them.
Oh.
One company I went, my second company, I had to you had to sign up for time during the day to key in your computer code.
Right.
And
interesting aside there is that I'm plug into Malcolm Gladwell, a great author that I really got into in the last year, and he's a psychologist, I think. Psychology, sociology out of Canada. He, I think, writes for the Washington Post or one of these big journals. And anyway, one of his books is about kind of the right place, right time. And somebody like Bill Gates, you think, all you hear about him is, he dropped out of school or whatever, and was a genius. But so much of it was being in the right place at the right time. So, for example, that's going to be the death of us. We're crossing some ridge here, lose signal over the mountains here. This car is struggling a little bit, as you can hear. Maybe I don't know if anyone can tell us how the audio is above the car. I mean, we can hear pretty well, but hopefully the sound quality's all right. I kind of like this. It's kind of fun. Keeps it interesting. Although we have to self-censor a little bit because
our wives might be listening.
That's right. I can hear the revs go up. Sound quality's good. Nice. That's good to hear.
Glad you hear the revs.
Hopefully we...
Right place, right time. You were talking about.
Yeah. So,
he was at a gifted program.
Yeah,
or school, special school was
right, and even having parents that were interested to let him kind of explore that, was pretty unique. Most in that era in the 80s, or even earlier, not many people had that opportunity, right? So anyway, so you had some access to that, and then where'd you go? Because you since then got a few master's degree, right? So you were at Caterpillar.
So I was at Caterpillar. I went 2 years until I came to. Then I went back to school full time for my master's in business administration at Syracuse University. And then when I got out of there, I took a job locally. I didn't go back to Caterpillar. I took an educational leave of absence for a year back in the 80s when Japanese tractor manufacturer Komatsu was really killing us because the yen was low, and so Caterpillar was under a lot of stress at that time, and they had laid off people. They cut our salaries, and then they told us that there weren't going to be any promotions for a year. So I went back to school full time for a year, worked for my master's degree, which I had started part time already anyway. Came to Syracuse. That's how I came to Syracuse.
Right. And you had done some accounting stuff too, right? Like you were ready to do CPA.
Right. So
eligible.
My bachelor's degree was in my college offered a CPA prep program, and so when I graduated that spring, my last semester, I took the SET for the CPA exam, and I passed the CPA exam. And later the certified well.
Right.
So right. So my background, my professors again, when I started doing computers, they said, well, you know, what you really need is you need a good business background besides, and of course, them being accountants, they recommended that I take accounting for my bachelor's degree.
Right. And then you got a few master's degrees along the way, right?
Right. So then, later on in life, then back in 2010, our company got bought out by a global insurance company by AXA, Equitable, and AXA came in and they were really pushing us to be more globally minded and so I signed up for a master's in global management program with Thunderbird School of International Management, and I did that. It was basically a hybrid type of program already back in 2010, where we came in our first semester. We came in for a week and went through class for a week, introduction and preparatory for the program, and then we had online courses that we went and took during the, then every semester would be offered an opportunity for what's called a global regional conference, where we would go someplace in the world and we would study about the political, economic and social issues in that particular area of the world, and be on site for a week. And so I ended up with 36 credit hours for that program, of which 18 hours were in residence at these week-long sessions someplace in the world, and then 18 hours was on online classes.
So that's where your indoctrination began.
That's where my indoctrination began, or my
progressive ways.
My progressive online education ways, and
having to think of things from a different perspective.
Right. Well, some of that was I was very frustrated here. Really, it actually started back when I was in junior college. One day, the professor said, "You know, we have, you can actually, you can dial into the university computer, and it's possible to connect the university computer and to remotely do it there." And so then, of course, my first question was, "So, can we do the students? Can we do the students, right?" And of course, somebody behind me says, "That's the dumbest question ever." But I was all excited. I was geeking out over that. I was really enthused about that.
Early
His answer was
adopter.
no,
Yeah,
early
early
adopter. I
adopter.
wanted to adopt that. I had ready at a 30-minute commute each way. I was ready to adopt that.
It only took 40 years later in a pandemic.
40 years later in a pandemic for that to come into being, and like I said, I couldn't adopt it back then because, of course, students weren't allowed to do that.
Right.
And then later on, when I had my second job here in Syracuse, New York, I got assigned to be on call overnight to maintain a computer system. The system went down. We got fixed the problem there in work. Is that we got to take that home, and you could actually dial up and you could fix problems without coming into work. You know, so that was a big advance.
Wow.
Big advance back then. Or that was like after Bill Gates with this was a little one of the original compact computers.
Right.
And after the personal computer came into being there in the early mid-'80s, I guess, the early to mid-'80s.
How times have changed.
Times have changed.
cliche, but and then you did another master's degree after that, right?
Yeah, so then I graduated in 2012, and then I think I started taking some, when social media came in, I started taking some, they had a certificate in social media that I started on. Actually, I completed it, but I never filed to get the official certificate, I was starting to become, so I was interested in, I don't know, just the changes in the digital environment or whatever. And when I got my job, I started being a project manager working on software systems for the marketing department. And so I got I don't know if I saw on the internet or whatever, but there was an online, they called it digital communications program with, you could get a major in advertising. I thought, oh, that would go well with my, I'm working with all these marketing people, and I never accounting side, and never really had that many marketing classes or understood that, and so that was my next degree, which was not quite. They advertised it as more getting more into strictly digital science, data science program, applied data science program, and so then I just transitioned right into that. If it would have been available at the time, maybe I would have skipped the first program and went into that. But anyway, it was a good combination. And I think in some respects, I get more of the how do you take data and communicate with it from the digital communications program, and then more of the back end of how do you actually do machine learning? How do you train these new algorithms to correctly interpret data and replace all of us human beings?
Yeah. Super interesting. And then that was all. That's what you did before you're onto your doctorate now, correct?
Right. That's all. That's what I did, and then so I was about halfway through the data science program one day, and my main projects had kind of come to completion, and my boss had come to me and say, "Hey, we got."
Nope. Yeah, I don't know. We're heading into the desert here. Probably gonna lose stuff, but.
Anyway, he said, "Well, I've been working mostly remotely because we had hired a bunch of remote project managers and a local guy. So there were certain projects that I got assigned because I was local, but mostly they only cared if I showed up on days we were presenting to the executive steering committee in person. So I had gotten into the habit of working mostly from home. And anyway, they wanted me to come back in and start up these 3 new projects and make sure, they got off to a good start. And they wanted me to come in the office every day. And I was thinking, that's 10 extra hours out of my week. How am I going to do that? And the more I thought about it, I thought, well, I just don't want to. I'm just not enthused about this at all. I don't want to do that. And so I got down on my knees. I started to pray. I thought, wow, I'm thinking about quitting my job. I'm praying about quitting my job, and I don't know that I want to. Why? Not my typical line of thought. And I thought, it was like within 10 minutes. It's like, I don't know. I just felt a peace about it and said, hey, this isn't my direction. My direction is. Halfway through the data science here, and I already had this conviction that I wanted to go into teaching. Devices connected.
All right, we're gonna try this.
We're gonna try my Wi-Fi and see if that gives us any better.
Otherwise, we may have to rethink our approach here.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought I was gonna have to pray a long time about this life-changing decision. after 10 minutes, I just had a piece about it. I got up, wrote my resignation letter, took it and showed it to Evelyn, my wife, and I don't know, she didn't scream or get upset or cry, or so I took it that was okay with her, which, you know, as a husband, sometimes that's the wrong approach. But sometimes your wife would like you to engage fully in a conversation to discuss these type of life-changing events with them that impact them, and they prefer that. But yeah, I mean, over the years you get kind of comfortable, and you can kind of watch their body language, and you make these assumptions. I don't know, for better or for worse. I think you're rather accurate. It's just that the process, sometimes they would just like to feel like they're more involved with the decision or the process, and want to talk it through. And,
Right.
But anyway, so next day I got up and took it into work, and gave them my two-week notice, and I was already signed up for a full slate of classes that semester, and so I just didn't drop one. I kept going full time.
Right.
Completed my degree, and then fortunately one of the local colleges here was looking for somebody to teach their introductory computer courses, and they wanted to bring more data analytics and more data science into the program, and they liked my resume that I'm working in the real world for 30 plus years. I'm not sure if that exactly what that signifies, if it's positive or negative, but anyway, they thought it was positive. So like, I got hired like a couple weeks before the fall semester, which of course went completely online. Fortunately, all our courses were structured to be online, and I've been taking online courses for 5 years, or 5+ years at that point, and so I felt pretty comfortable just switching from the student role to relatively comfortable switching from the student role to the teacher role.
Right. So how's it been? You did a full year last year, or was it just, I'm trying to remember, was it a term, or you did all last year?
So I did all last fall of 2020 and spring of 2020. Also, I offered online courses in summer of 2020, and then in fall of 2021 we were back face to face with mass.
Right. For a brief moment
here, and so now I've just almost survived. I got to post my grades yet on Wednesday, but so it'll be my third full semester in summers. All the other thing too is I got a interim here starting Tuesday. Got one online course that's kicking off.
And then to add to your plate, they decided that, hey, we're going to make you a minister now at this point.
Yes, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't tell you either too. I did start my doctoral program. It was supposed to be a hybrid program again, where you came onto campus for a full week once a semester, and then you did a lot of work offline and online. And I started that too, and of course that went completely online, which is probably from a logistics standpoint, that was probably much better for me, but it's been a little frustrating because I always really did enjoy those week-long sessions where you get to actually see the other students face to face, and you get the engagement of a classroom experience usually.
Right.
But anyway, so now, yes, I was asked to be minister, and I was really kind of overwhelmed with that, just thinking about,
You're like three FTEs at this point, huh?
Yeah, like 3 FTEs, and I don't know, I just decided, I just felt like, again, my first response was to watch my wife's reaction and I thought, you know, I don't know, she had already been, in the past she had already experienced, expressed the thought that she would prefer not for me not to be a minister, right? And this happened, and I was expecting that we were going to have, or that I was expecting her to be not be very supportive of this, and to my surprise, she didn't really. I don't know.
She was supportive.
She was supportive. She was supportive, and then I thought, well, I mean, I prayed about it, and again, I thought I was going to have to spend more time in prayer, but I mean, I was trying to figure out, you know, logistically, how am I going to handle this? How can I even take anything else on my plate? You know, I felt like I was behind on always behind on my jobs the way it was, and I should be dropping something, and I didn't really know what to drop or what I could cut out. And then, of course, like I said, my class went back in real time, face to face, and this made the logistics more complicated. Although at least my commute was shorter than my previous job, and I don't know. Eventually, I guess I've been making these experiences already where I just felt like overwhelmed somehow God made what I gave to my job and to my studies. God made it enough, and I just decided that, you know, I gotta trust Him, and if this is really what He wants me to do, then somehow He'll make it be enough. He'll give me the hours, the time that I have, and if He doesn't, or if for whatever reason I can't make the grades in my doctoral program or whatever, and I have to quit for a semester, or I have to quit completely, I got to give up that. Ultimately, I got to give up that dream and go with what He wants. Even though I felt like, I mean, besides my experience in second grade, I've had other experiences along the way that reinforced that, you know, at this point in my life, that was kind of that was a calling for me. And,
shout out to Michael Greninger and the Greninger family. Our condolences to the family, the loss of their grandfather. I don't know if Michael's still with us on the chat, but you know, on the other hand, happy to know you guys had a great grandfather, and that he's in a better place now, and you know, your mom could be with him and last little bit there, and so hope you enjoy your family time together. We are doing the coast to coast, LA to Syracuse, although I guess Syracuse isn't exactly on the coast, but coast of Lake Onondaga. Thanks for joining in. We are heading into the desert, so I'm not sure, you know, again, we might be losing signal here and there, but drop a comment, drop a like. Happy to engage with the audience.
it's actually stayed up since I started with the MiFi, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. It looks like we're getting more and more into the desert here. Yeah. That's our forward view. I don't know why it's so bumpy forward. There's a stabilizer.
Maybe it's just the speed of the compared to.
Yeah, maybe one of the engineers on the chat can let us know, maybe, or the optic expert, Wesley, why it is so bumpy facing forward. I don't know. I was really hoping that would be a nice feature to flip over and show you what's ahead of us, but I don't know if the windshield's kind of maybe vibrating a little bit at the bottom a little more and you don't notice it. It don't think it's this rig. The rig is pretty sturdy. It must be that the windshield's flexing a little bit.
Yeah, I got lots of memories of singing with Brother Steve. Men's, I always loved to have those, present those men's singing numbers at church, and directed them.
He always had a smile, right?
Yeah, especially
Ear to
when he was,
ear.
well, especially when he was directing or singing,
Yeah.
he was happy. He
Yeah.
was in his, that was his, one of his,
He's in his element.
one of his gifts,
Yeah.
one of his spiritual gifts.
We are on gas, so
Yes, yes. So as usual, just like at home, you know, our family loves to empty the vehicles of gas.
Test
and
the
then
limits.
Leave it for someone else to fill the tank.
yeah.
So I see that Emily's going to fit right in here with us.
What I find funny is that it's a real Cook phenomenon to see how far the garbage can get filled before someone else takes it out. And that occurs in my house as well. I'm always the one taking the trash out. Everybody else is trying to see how much you can jam into the top. But fortunately, we are coming up upon a establishment that should be able to provide us with some fuel. So
Yeah, here, let's see, what kind of price you think we get out here in the desert? You think they're cracking $5 a gallon here?
I think less. I think it seems the further you get out of the city, it just seems
Less
better.
it gets.
So everybody's doing 85. All right, we're back live. Oh, I don't know, my phone just randomly died. Super weird, but we need some gas. Weird commenting how it's a Cook tradition, and Emily appears to inherit it as well, where the tank is
You
running
turn
low.
over the car to somebody else with the low tank so that they have to fill up the tank.
Exactly.
Costco's here, we could go get a
Is there Costco?
big
Or you're
bargain.
just saying?
I'm just asking now. Here, only $4.95.
$4.95.
What a
Jeez.
bargain. Look at that. Could have got $49 back in the city.
What's here at Chevron? Is it the same? I can't see.
Wait, Chevron. I don't know. They have it. It's the one across the street. What kind is that?
I don't know. So I don't know which side my gas tank is on.
Oh,
Looks like
this
it's
usually
on
has
the
an arrow,
Yep,
does-
it's on the right.
Okay, that's the way mine.
Are we any? Whoa, $4.96. Wow.
Okay, well, Penny's not going to make or break us,
Nope.
probably. Chevron, what was the one over there? Oh, the other one's a Shell. I could actually get a discount.
Yeah. How much?
I don't know, like 5 cents. There,
Yeah.
that one. It's not worth it. Okay.
No.
Oh, I forgot to get my.
Just gonna go use the little boys' room. Oh, that sounds weird.
bathroom here yet?
All right.
Where'd my-
Yeah, there's a bathroom.
where did my mask go here? It's right here. Oh, come on, really?
Oh, bag of nuts in here. Some candy. Howdy, someone joined the chat. Say hi. Just getting gas. Enjoying some caramel coffee almonds. Very good. Can't say a 4-day trip across the country is going to be healthy in any way, but coconut chocolate almonds, also delicious. Just refueling here. Gas is $5 a gallon. 56 bucks for 11 gallons. California, that's what you get. So if you missed it, we are going coast to coast with Emily Bojanak, now Emily Cook's car. Here comes Rod. And just passing the time with our YouTube chat, and drop a comment, hit like, subscribe, call in. We are discussing all topics. Oh, this box is falling out.
Losing our advertising here.
The car is, we are sponsored by Crate and Barrel. The car is so packed full of stuff, as you can see. It's kind of getting, shoot, how do you get out of here? This is not a,
stop, no
not
right
what I
turn.
thought.
One way.
I know, so it's probably,
Here's the sign to the highway.
this got to happen all the time, that people have no idea how to get out of there.
How did this happen to stay up there that whole time? And now
Well, I think we were moving forward. We weren't turning. So.
Yeah.
Well, if you're in the chat, drop your name so we know who it is. Or not. You don't have to. You can stay anonymous if you want.
If you're in the air, of course, if you're a T-Mobile customer, you get an hour of free Wi-Fi from the air on Delta.
That's right. That's right.
So just a reminder to my wife and my daughter. We seem to forget that.
Although when I was just on the plane, we could not get on that. It did not offer that anymore.
Yes, there's this new high-speed Wi-Fi that Delta's rolling out, and so on some flights, your only option is to pay $5 to get your theoretically, quote, high-speed Wi-Fi. But my personal experience with that has not been overly positive as far as the speed, or I don't know, usually when I want the high speed, it's because I want to connect to one of my online courses, right?
Gotcha.
Which in the old days used to sometimes work, probably somewhat randomly, depending on...
We need to know where we're going. Do you have the...
Oh, no, I never unplugged it. Why does it not show?
Isn't it?
Why
Do you
is
have to be
Apple
stopped?
CarPlay no longer working? interesting. So there's the
Well.
pull out there. It's still in here, still in there solid. Still in here solid. What if I pull it out and put it back in? So it went away when I pulled it out. Here it comes back.
Okay.
Okay.
We're back in business.
We're back here. I thought if I avoided unplugging my phone that I would save myself that agony. Okay. Ready to try some Trader Joe's coconut almonds?
I already had some.
Oh, you already had some.
I'll have more. They are very good. I was just saying, sitting for 40 hours plus and eating chocolate, probably not the best way to spend pre-Christmas.
No.
Hey, look at this guy, Santa.
No. Can you get that in the... No.
Well, he probably doesn't consent to being videotaped, so.
That's true, right? You don't have his consent. Oh, plus after a weekend of wedding food.
Yeah. Cast the first stone, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. It was good, but
We lost our viewer.
lost our viewer. Got too bored. They got bored watching the pump.
Ooh, Humvees.
Oh, that's bad stuff. It's hard to eat just one of those.
I know.
How much battery I got left in here?
All right.
Pretty full battery.
This light has been green for a while, and there's a lot of cars that are continually crossing into the intersection. Bad form, bad form. All right.
Now it says 2 connections. I suppose my phone is burning this thing too, or not? Oh, yes, it is. Let's forget it. Forget mine. Go use the Wi-Fi. Go use the cellular network. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just burning up both ends.
So I think you dropped in the sermon that your dad did he go to Korea, or he did.
He got sent to Korea.
What was his capacity? He was already a member?
Yeah, he was well, no, actually no, he was not. He was not a member till after he came back, I believe. And but he applied for conscientious objector status, and no, I shouldn't say that. I think he was a member before he went to Korea.
So what did he say about that? Did he ever share his experiences?
He did not share very much about his experiences in Korea, other than like he drove the ambulance. He had to drive around all these tight curves in the mountain with the ambulance, which seemed to be didn't seem to appreciate that much, and he had to go to during the battles he would have to pull back, or after the main fighting pulled back, they would have to go and triage the bodies and see if there's anybody still alive, and if so, then pick them up and take them to the ambulance, or if not alive, then ship them back in, I assume, a body bag or something.
So the original body truck driver.
The original body truck driver, right? Just like his grandson, or his grandson, yes, is carrying on the tradition here, the B7 truck driver.
Right.
And, so I know he expressed that, he wondered if he was ever going to be able to, he was ever going to live through this and get back to the States. So even though he wasn't on the front line, there was a certain question in his mind always if he was ever going to be able to come back alive himself. So before they shipped out, like the COs generally got sent to the same places. Like I know he went to the what's the big base they have down by the Alamo, the Fort Sam. He was there for a while before he shipped out, and he was in the Bay Area with brother Ed Gerhardt from Mansfield, and they used to on Sundays. I think they had part of Sunday or maybe all Sunday off. They would sneak out to the baseball field. They would go out to the dugout, and they would have a hymn sing.
Wow.
The two of them, right? So I wanted to ask Brother Gary Turrup more, because he said his dad also was stationed with my dad here at one point. So I don't know if that might have been at Fort Sam, but it seemed like right before he shipped out, as I remember, that Ed Gerhardt was the only person that had that was left that he knew or from church. So
Some of your uncles were in the Pacific, right?
yes, was it Uncle Glenn? Was I think maybe the uncle? My mom's brothers were, some of them were older and were involved in World War II. Uncle Gene was, Uncle Glenn, and I believe Uncle Abe was as well. I believe Uncle Abe might have enlisted himself, and the others were drafted. Don't know that much about it. I was trying to remember. Uncle Gene, I believe, wrote. I don't know. He had this gift for writing poems and poetry, and which side story here. Once the assignment in grade school was to write a poem. He wrote this poem and turned it in, and the teacher didn't believe that he wrote it.
Wow.
Because my uncles were kind of known. It was the old one-room schoolhouse, and they were kind of known for being the not being the class intellectuals,
Right.
so to speak. And usually they were kind of rough on the teacher, I think, too. Anyway, she did not believe that he could have written this poem by himself.
That's funny.
So, yes, so as an educational professional, of course, I gotta remember not to prejudge my students.
Right.
And
Were they big kids too? I mean, they're all, at least I remember them all pretty tall,
they're
big,
all
farm
pretty
boys.
big. They used to call it farm boys. Uncle Abe, they used to call his nickname was Abe because he was tall like Abe Lincoln,
Right.
And for their day, relatively small farms, so they didn't really, most of the time, they weren't allowed to really participate in sports, although Uncle Glenn got into a game once, I believe, and hit 2 home runs, supposedly.
Oh, wow.
But then Grandpa took him out. Grandpa took him back to the farm and told him he had to work on the farm, and he wasn't going to get to play anymore. But yeah, so yeah, different time of life again. But well, anyway, Uncle Gene had written. My mom was not converted at the time, but when Uncle Gene was stationed in the Pacific, he had written a letter to her, or maybe it was, I think it was even maybe a poem. Poem was part of it. But again, he had sent her this poem, and it was very, for her personally, it was very convicting to her and helped lead to her conversion. As I remember the story. Again, now at my age here, I'm going back, and Uncle PJ was at the wedding. My mom's last living brother was at the wedding, the youngest brother, and so I was trying to verify some of these stories that I had heard in my youth to see if he to test their veracity, and also to make sure I'm not telling them wrong. I'm not telling them wrong, because of course we know our truth, and so I know it's that that some of them seemed to. My mom told me that some of the seemed to have grown in proportion since when she was a girl. So I was verifying some of these with my uncle, and unfortunately, the one that I really wanted to verify that was he didn't remember was supposedly at the time of in the church between before the split between our church and the sister church, there was a relative. There was this very wise older woman that was really looked up to by everyone in the church, and so the story always is that when there was this dissension in the church, that some of the elders had sought her out, and they asked her, what is the problem? What is the asked for her advice, and her response supposedly there just isn't enough love, right? And I really find, I don't know, like I said, so eventually over the years the story morphed into more she went to this elders meeting, and she got up and stood up at the elders meeting and told the elders all this in an elders meeting. But I think the kernel of truth is that some of the elders did seek her out, and it asked, as I remember trying to parse this with my mom, is that they had met with her, and this was her comment, and it was very, very telling. I don't know, things haven't changed much, and sometimes you think things haven't changed that much. I was talking to someone not from our denomination recently that went through their church had went through a split. His comment was again rather telling. He said, "Well, some Christians they love first and judge second, and other Christians they judge first and love second." And I don't know, that kind of hit home. But anyway, it's it's if we look back in history, and we look at some of the things that have divided the church, especially if you go back to the first church split back in the early 1900s, and you say, why were beards and mustache? Why? What does that have to do with the Bible? Why was that a problem? Most likely most of the people that we read about, men that we read about in the Bible anyway, had a beard. And again, it gets to some of our comments about, we have this, as Christians, we develop these customs, we develop a culture, and we develop these customs, and unfortunately sometimes we're too much like the same people that Jesus called out in the Bible, where we've taken some type of what we see as a biblical command, and we've customized it, and we've morphed it into something that really doesn't have a spiritual impact, and it can be scary. But anyway, like I was saying, I had an opportunity to talk to my uncle, and I guess I should be. I mean, it's kind of worrisome too. I think I always heard these stories that my uncles were alive, and they'd always tell these. My uncles and aunts would always get together on Sunday nights a lot of times and share stories and try to solve the world's problems, or sometimes we had would have a Bible study as a family, and I don't know, sometimes as a younger person I didn't always appreciate that. I wanted to go play, but my parents always worked at trying to get us to the all the time. Yeah, we did get to go play with the cousins sometimes. That was really great, but a lot of times we would get requested to spend some time with the adults during these evenings.
Well, traffic is pretty slow down here, so.
You need another handle up here.
I know.
Oops, no, I put.
Can it? You can't wedge behind here.
Maybe
There
a
you go.
little bit,
All
but
right.
then it's just gonna slide on
That's
this
okay.
side.
That's probably fine. Oh boy. I really think it's the windshield because even when you're barely moving, it's like vibrating like crazy. Probably too because it's on an angle, so it's gonna amplify any like reflection.
I can kill any of this reflection.
I think it's behind you.
Yeah, it is. My head in front of it. I'm gonna halo.
Oh my goodness.
No, this is just the typical LA to. It's Brian's story about going to Vegas to catch a cheap flight, and then the car battery was dead when he came back, or he had to park it. I can't remember. He could find a place to park. He came back and had to walk over to the parking lot where he had left it, and the battery was dead. Can't remember what he did. I think he had to leave and come back, or go rent a car or something, and come back
Right.
later and pick it up another time.
Car problems are the worst.
Yeah. Well, at least we don't know, it doesn't protect us with this car, but at least it's relatively young.
Mm-hmm. Seems like in great
Hope
shape.
it's strong and healthy.
1,200. Andrew said 20,000 miles on it
Oh,
already.
I don't know. Her dad said 12,000.
Did he? Maybe I mixed up. I
Yeah,
thought
I
he
don't
said. Anyway. So 12,400 on it already, and we're gonna probably put 3,000 on it. So we're gonna give it a 25% boost
But
here.
once they bought it, it had less than 500, I believe. Was it like 495 miles or something? I don't know. Whoever had hit before had barely driven it. And when Emily's dad saw it, he thought, hey, this is a bargain. Better jump on this one.
Yeah.
But we're happy too. It's a Subaru here with 4-wheel drive, so coming back to New York, that is a blessing. Our family is already blessed with 2 Subarus and 1 Honda CR-V, but
You've made the switch over the years from the Hondas, huh? Used to do the.
well, I always did Hondas, but for my personal taste, I love being able to shift my own transmission, and the Honda Field 4-wheel drive vehicles did not let you have that option anymore. So I'm with the Subaru, and now, of course, here a couple years later now, Subaru's down to 2022 is going to be the last for my particular vehicle. My Crosstrek is going to be the last year they're offering a manual on that, because they're going to revamp the whole car next year in the 2023 models. And so my original plan here before COVID and all this was tentatively to buy a new one 2022 here, so I could get one of the last ones. And but now, of course, we have this big shortage, the price is up, and so I'm thinking it's probably not a good idea. I should just keep driving my 2015 Crosstrek, and I don't know, alternatively I have these grand ideas of finding a custom shop that would be able to do something for me, but I don't know, I imagine that would be terribly expensive and not really very wise use of my money. But I'm a little frustrated that my choice is going to be taken away from me to shift for myself. That lack of control, I guess, is what that control. But it's really, I don't know, it's still a lot easier. You know, in Syracuse we got a lot of hills, and so I like to just throw it into neutral and maximize my mileage when I'm coasting down a hill. And you can kind of do that with automatics, but I don't think it's really recommended, and it's not quite as easy to do with these automatic transmissions. And generally, you know, I mean, nowadays, in the old days, your manual transmissions generally were more efficient, but of course now with the newer CVTs, you can get better mileage with the CVTs usually than you can with a manual transmission. But on the other hand, of course, if your CVT or any of your automatic transmissions go bad and you got to replace them, that is an awesome bill. And versus an occasional clutch replacement in your manual transmissions, they prefer the latter to the former.
Right.
And now, of course, the new electric vehicles, they don't even offer a choice of manuals either. So, yeah. So I'm just getting old and crotchety here, and missing the good old days where you could get manual transmissions. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get a Civic again some days. They're still letting you get manuals in those. Yeah, if I move something, yeah.
What's on the horizon for retirement plans?
I don't know. Evelyn always thought, she wanted to spend her winters in Florida, and then my brother moved to Arizona, so we started thinking about, well, maybe Arizona looked a little better then, but now, with all of the changing weather and stuff, and the water issues, that the heat, what do they call them? They have the super heat domes.
Yeah, I get the idea.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. And central Illinois or central New York here is supposedly it's predicted that we will have the least impact on our weather will be the least going forward, one of the least places, at least of any place in the country going forward. It's like, yeah. But so at this point, I don't know. I know it kind of depends on where all of our children end up. So I don't know. Andrew and Emily move back to California someday. Maybe that would be an option. Not that I've ever wanted to live in California particularly. But I'm from the old Tremont, Illinois, population 2,000. My grandfather would go visit the uncles in California, and he'd come home, and someday God's going to judge California. That that fault line's going to break, and they're all going to be going to the sea. They're all going to be dumped into the sea. Because when he would go to California, he would see the more progressive side of the country that he wasn't used to seeing.
What would he think now? Huh?
Yeah, what would he think now? Yeah. My parents' generation always thought, things are so bad, the Lord's got to come back. The Lord's going to come back soon in my lifetime. Things are so bad. And so now we still say that. Things are so bad, the Lord must be coming back soon. I don't know, you don't know what the Lord will allow.
It's all perspective too,
It's
right?
all perspective too, right? Yeah. I mean, the thing is, sin's always been in the world since the Adam.
All right, well, we are losing signal a little bit out in the desert, and we're at about 2 hours, so we will call it a wrap for now. Not sure if anyone's still on the line. Probably not. Looks like zero, but